Welcome back to How to Tickle Yourself. I am your host, Duff McDonald, along with my co-host, Joey of Rockledge. Before introducing today's guests, I want to talk about myself for a moment. I'm kidding, sort of, because I'll really be talking about both them and myself. But let's start with me. If you'd asked me 4 years ago whether I wanted to have a conversation with today's guests, Dr. Issam Nemeh and his wife, Kathy, I would have passed. I had no interest in conversations about faith or about God or about healing through prayer. I might have conceded that the universe is energy or something like that, but I was solidly in the materialist camp. If you couldn't show it to me, it wasn't real. I did not believe in God. I did not believe in anything beyond what I could see. With the gentle encouragement of my wife and my mother-in-law, Betty, I have discovered a different point of view. If you have listened to this podcast or read my book, Tickled, you will be aware of the fact that I have most certainly changed my tune. Today, I am prepared to sing the song of God, and I am not being facetious. It is a miracle that any of this is happening. If we can stop for a moment focusing on that which we think we know, the content of our egos, it is possible to become aware of something greater than those egos, something that loves every single one of us in every single moment, now and forever. I'm talking about the fact that the universe is a perfect thing, created by a perfect being, and that everything really is okay right here and right now. I have woken up. All of which brings me to Dr. Nemeh, aka the physician of Unshakable faith. Dr. Nemeh, along with his wife Kathy, helps us use the power of faith to heal ourselves. He's been practicing medicine for over 30 years in a private practice in Cleveland. He is well aware of the tools and techniques of modern medicine, but he works with more than that. He has the entire universe at his disposal, and he is using it. We will get to the details of all that in a moment, but suffice it to say that I've come to understand and believe what the Nemehs are preaching. What do I mean by that? First and foremost, the world is as you see it. What the Nemehs help people to do is to see themselves as whole, not broken. We are all whole because we are all one. When the Nemehs host monthly Zoom meetings, everyone prays for everyone else. That's the power of unity. Another way to think of that, most of us consider ourselves as separate. If you're separate, how could someone heal you from the other side of a Zoom call? But what if we're not separate? What if, as quantum physics tells us, everything really is connected? What then? Maybe, just maybe, it's possible to believe that someone could help you simply by the power of awareness. Dr. Nemeh is helping channel the big tickle, the life force itself. He has helped heal ailments from cancer to paralysis, depression, and disease. He has helped people born blind to see. I contacted the Nemehs on the advice of my mother-in-law. She thought I would find them interesting. At first, and this is not the first time this has happened, I thought she was crazy. But I did something I've started to do more often these days than in the past, and just listened to someone without judgment. And so I called into the Nemehs January Zoom healing meeting, and then I did it again in February. In February, people dialed in from all over the world, Slovenia, Germany, New Zealand, people who are losing hope. And Dr. Nemeh gives it to them. He gives them hope. Are you still with me? If you're not, you have closed down a possibility by concluding that you know more than I do. If you are, you're about to hear one of the most inspiring conversations this podcast has ever featured. Welcome to the show, Nemehs. It is great to have you.
Thank you for that interesting and wonderful introduction.
At the present moment, traveling town to town, the mystery of the motion, right here, right now, right here, right now, whoa, right here, right now.
So I think a great place to start would be what brought you to this point? I assume that at one point you were just a run-of-the-mill MD practicing medicine, and then something happened, or maybe it was before that. Can you just give us the story?
Yes, I'm frequently asked that question, which is interesting for me, that people ask. Things did not suddenly happen. From early age, I was inspired. I was seeing a lot of things that were part even of our education, by the way, and I was inspired by every single thing in there. In a sense, I'll give you an example. We had physics during the 7th grade, and they were defining the potential electric, energy of an electron. And the definition was it's the energy necessary for that electron to be moved from one place to a place in infinity. And I was elated. It inspired me so much because I realized then at that age too that if there is no infinity, there can't be any matter. You see where the mind went. So I would say that I was somehow guided there throughout. I was seeking definitely, and I had a vision actually by the age of 14. I had a vision of the type of work that I'm going to be doing, but there were no details, and it overwhelmed me. And I was started in electronic engineering for about a year, and switched to medicine. And in medicine, I was very, very inspired because many sciences are involved, from physics to math, you name it. I couldn't find the full fulfillment there. I was still seeking. Seeking things that could drive me into fulfilling the deep vision that I had. And I went into the 3 different specialties: medicine, surgery, anesthesia, open heart. But at the same time, I was interested in doing a lot of other things, like testing things from electricity to light to you name it. And one thing inspired me a lot, and it was done in Germany, Dr. Vold, 1954. They were trying to check the electrical conductivity of certain areas in the body and try to correlate it with the function of the pancreas. And I was very inspired. So things progressed in such a way, started to do the same thing, started to measure people and stuff like this, like before open heart, let's say, surgeries. And after, and I started noticing trends that repeated themselves over and over with every patient. So it really drove me into that, and because of the background, the specialties I was involved with, it drove me into all the systems within the body, and it led me actually finally to develop an AI, diagnostic AI. That is very accurate. I do screen patients that come in and find out about a lot of things that we usually are unaware of in medicine, the way we practice it. Now, the thing, the details of what I'm doing in the office came about as a revelation. Like it was an infused type of knowledge, like the universe wanted me actually to delve into that direction. And so I got all the details. I've never learned anything from anybody, by the way, when it comes to what kind of a practice I'm conducting right today. And there is beautiful science involved. The science is deep, and actually led me to incredible discoveries about our nature itself. And what I mean by this, I discovered one energy field actually that comes into play as a result of our state of mind. And it's mind dependent. What I mean by this, if you have the intention towards the subject, let's say, or patient, all of a sudden an energy field comes into play. And I documented that, by the way, scientifically. And that energy field manifests itself in such a way you become the center of its manifestation. But you could feel a force that is connecting you to the subject you are focusing on. And the interesting thing is, the farther away you start walking from the patient, the stronger is the force of the field. And actually it generates a kind of a gravitational wave. And not only this, it does materialize your intention for the people you are praying for, or you have the right intention towards them. And I've witnessed such a large number of recoveries of things that we cannot even imagine. But the science of it is clear cut. There is no question. And I see the future. Actually, to tell you the truth, the future of science is the science of consciousness.
You stole my question. I took that note from your last Zoom meeting where you said the future of science is the science of consciousness. That's what's going to change the whole world. What do you mean by that? Based upon some of the scientific work that I got involved with, something became very clear cut. We can, let's say, doing with the head scientist from NASA, he came my way. We worked together on that. It was a personal thing between me and him, and we did a lot of testing, together outside of the institution, and we noticed a lot of incredible, beautiful things in there. What I mean by that, the energy field, we did the healing at the distance, and even recording frequencies. The frequencies that are intelligent, modulated signals, with layers and layers of them while the healing is happening, and we documented that. Actually, I think there's one video on YouTube or somewhere. They told me that we filmed at a distance. A paralyzed lady, right from complete paralysis to standing and walking, and at the same time we were registering at the great distance to the frequencies of the healing. Okay, so and it progressed when we wanted to dig deeper into the subject. Some things started actually manifesting themselves. For example, I was able to, from my office to Virginia, I were able they were able to register frequencies of a magnet that I have from Cleveland to Virginia. Okay, and it was in the Faraday's chamber, the instrumentation. So it bypassed space and bypassed time, basically. So what I'm aiming at is, it led us to a thought, actually, of creating a telecommunication type of new technology that could bypass space and time. And we know when the spaceship coming down, there is a period of time where they cannot communicate at all because of the plasma formation around the shuttle, let's say, or the rocket coming down. So it opened the door for us into incredible, beautiful things that could be developed in the future. So, on the same subject of consciousness, another thing that you said in February, you said there is nothing in existence that does not have a consciousness behind it. I take that to mean it's all in consciousness. This is all taking place in consciousness, and therefore, of course, it's all connected. It's all within the one thing. Is that what you meant by that?
Yes, that's what I meant. Everything has consciousness behind it. And we have many examples, actually, even from nature. I mean, if a parasite infects a snail, and the snail sliding on the ground leaves a mucousy trail, and the mucousy trail is filled with the eggs of that parasite. Ants eat it, and the whole community of those ants gets infected, and they go about their daily chore in a normal fashion. But if a grazing animal comes by, the whole community of those ants sticks itself to the vegetation in order for the animal to eat it, okay, and get infected. Now, the question is there consciousness behind that community of that parasite? Is there consciousness behind it? In medicine, people, go into comas and stuff like that when they die, by the way, and I've noticed that. You cannot maintain the function of their organ systems. They start failing one after the other. So is the consciousness there playing a role in the survival of that physical body? I have no question whatsoever in my mind.
So Dr. Nemeh, I have a question. Oh, is this? Yes. You were mentioning the frequencies that you were measuring, and those are generated, you said, by our mind. Because I know back in February, you said that the real healing is the healing of the mind, and that once the mind's healed, the body takes care of itself. So is the mind generating those frequencies for healing, or can you explain that a little bit more?
The mind is the source of it. That's the intention that you have. And your spirit is the one that translates. That translates that mind into the physicality. And it goes both ways. It's from the physical to the mind too. So it's bi-directional. The communication goes both ways. Frequencies, yes. Now, when you think, let's say, about moving your arm, it's in your mind. When you actualize it, and that's your will, because the will is above the mind. When you actualize it, the spirit is the one that translates your command into your physical body, and that translation is a language. Actually, are translating a language. Those frequencies that we've been recording are I would call it language of consciousness.
Wow.
Okay. I hope I explained that.
Absolutely. So, Kathy, I'm sure you love your husband, and love is a feeling that we all know is different from most of the other feelings. But is his ability to work with intention and consciousness this way, is he walking around with this sort of energy around him? Is it different from other people?
Oh, he's different, all right.
You're not supposed to say that.
I've been married 40 years, April 9th. It'll be 40 years. When I met him 41 years ago, he told me what's going to happen in the future. And everything he said is coming to fruition. It's amazing. He said, I'll be leaving general surgery, I'll be leaving anesthesia, and I'm going to be doing something very different. And you have to trust me on this. And I did. There was something so fascinating about him, so different. But I trusted because I came from a lot of faith. And when things started to manifest, I couldn't doubt anything that I was experiencing. He doesn't like to claim that he's a healer.
Okay. So you know what? I see the frustration on your face, Dr. Nemeh. I know you insist that you have no gifts, and you've said the only gift you recognize is the gift of love that he has endowed you with. To me, so Joelle Moss, you're looking at here, shares an attribute with that. Everything around her is easier. Everywhere she goes, it's easy around her. People like to be near her because there's something not complicated about it, right? And so she knows how to hand that let that love through herself. So can we accept at least that you've figured out how to do that, or that's happening with you?
Yes, of course.
Okay.
You see, that's why I don't like people to think that this guy is different. Some people think, oh, he is gifted with some gifts. Bunch of nonsense. I'm sorry, because we all are the same. We come from the same origin, and we all are supposed to be reflecting the whole consciousness, basically. That's the way I see it. So I see the potential in every single human being I deal with. No matter where they come from, whether they have faith, they don't have faith, it doesn't matter. And I think that's the major thing that could reflect actually my true love for people that I deal with. And to tell you the truth, I'm in here to love everybody. Okay? And that thing materializes. It's not like I come from an opinion. What I am expressing today is based upon thousands and thousands of transformations, physical transformations and spiritual transformations that happen in the people. So I'm not expressing an opinion, by the way. But I see the potential, the beautiful potential in every human being that I deal with.
You are you're a Christian, and in your prayer meetings, there's a Christian inflection to them. Yeah. But to me, when I hear it, it sounds like universal wisdom, right? It's in this house we're followers of Siddha Yoga, but you could just as well be a yogi the way you speak about this.
Yeah, yes, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Religion doesn't matter. Faith does not matter. Because faith, if it stays as a faith, is a state of mind and does not materialize, it amounts to nothing. Like even in the Christian literature, like Paul talking about it. I mean, if you have the faith that could move mountains, you have no love, it amounts to nothing. And not only this, in my throughout my practice, I deal with people from all religions, from all walks of life. I love the ones that come in skeptical. I love the skeptics because it tells me that there's a critical mind in there. And from what I've seen, once things materialize for them, they turn out to be the most devout people, basically. What I meant to say, the way you apply what you believe into daily life, into your physical existence, is what matters the most. Religion does not matter. It's the love that we have. It's how we materialize the most perfect principle in existence. And love is not a feeling. It's not only a feeling, and a lot of people misinterpret it. It's a power, actually, that is behind maintaining everything that is in existence. Like it is written, and he maintains everything by the power of his will. What is his will? Perfect love. So the state of mind that is such will definitely bring things back into their supposed, let's say, manifestation. And that's how the healing happens.
You said, I think in February, that enlightenment is perfect love and perfect surrender. So is that what we're all going for? Perfect love, perfect surrender.
Yes, and love is not only a simple, straightforward thing. Love entails a lot of other details. When I love you, I'm not going to doubt you. I will always forgive you. I will always trust you. You see, it entails other details that define it in a more accurate way. So if I love you and I don't trust you, it means I don't love you.
Mm. That makes sense. So it's love is more like the foundation for all of it.
For all of it.
So
I believe that.
So let's talk about some of the healings. I said in the intro, you help people to realize that they are whole, and you give them hope. What can you explain? What, in your words, not mine, what is happening when someone is with you and you're focused, you're bringing your awareness to some pain that they have? What can you explain what goes on?
Yes. Even based upon the quantum mechanics itself, everything is entangled. Everything is, and that entanglement allows you, when you are connected, to feel the state of mind that people are in. You become very empathetic. I'm able to understand, to feel what people are feeling, the people I deal with, I pray with. In a sense, they don't have to really know what I know, but it opens the door for me to recognize the suffering that they are going through, and even gives me an idea about the needs that they have. And accordingly, you address the person, because I feel the kind of state of mind that they are in. Because don't forget one thing, we are not disconnected. Your mind always reflects itself in the physical. You see? And that's the connection that you have between you and them. And that energy field comes into play, by the way. And that energy field is the spirit, by the way. So it connects you so deeply. I've had in the past people that lost their ability to talk, and while treating them from strokes or head injuries, and every time they came, I was able to feel the pains and where they were and what kind of pains and the severity of the pain. And when they recovered, they were overwhelmed. They were crying even over it. How did you know every time where I was feeling the pains? You see, I'm aiming at something in here. When you have the intention, the beautiful intention that is based upon love, it connects you to everything that is. Everything. And this way, it opens the door for you to know a lot of details about their needs, and I remedy it accordingly. And every person is so unique. It overwhelms me, tell you the truth, myself, every time I pray with anybody. And not only this, when things are translating themselves because of that principle of entanglement, we are all one. I feel what is going on. When the healing starts happening, definitely I feel it myself within my own being. You see, our consciousness is a non-locality. And in a sense, it is connected to everything that is. And I'm not restricted. My mind is not restricted to my body. I can connect with anybody that is, and everything that is. We are higher beings, every one of us. The problem is the will drowns itself in the physical reality, and it gets blinded. It suffers amnesia, basically. But once you start reverting back to the truth that is within you, so automatically you become aware of that fact that you are not restricted to your physical. And we are all connected to everything around us. And even if you talk in a scientific way, you observe an electron turns into matter. You don't observe it, it turns into an energy, which is a quantum field. It tells us so much about our nature and about who we are. So yes,
what if
feel everything that happens within the people I'm dealing with. I don't miss a thing there.
And what about people that don't believe necessarily, or that are resistant in some way?
Yes.
Can this get through?
Yes, of course it can get through. I am in here for those people. I am, my whole mission is for those people to bring light to this world, basically. Everyone has their own things that they've suffered from in their life. And I understand, I deeply understand the place they are in. And you try to remedy. You see, that's what the most important part of the work that I devoted myself to doing. Okay.
When various people on the 2 Zoom calls we've been on, someone would say something about a current affliction. It might even seem to be more mental than physical. And more often than not, you've said, I'm paraphrasing here, maybe this is sourced by some physical injury from long ago, or maybe this was sourced by some. Can you tell us about that sort of connection where you see a current ailment actually not being what we think it is necessarily, but being sourced from somewhere back in time?
Yes. Based upon thousands and thousands of people I've treated, I use the technology I developed, the program I developed. And over the years, it started showing me things that we were not aware of in medicine, in a sense. It started connecting certain ailments and symptoms to other areas that in medicine we are not aware of. Okay? So it opened the door for me to have a deeper type of knowledge when it comes to the etiology of things that we suffer from. And by dealing with them, actually witnessed repeatedly people recovering from things, let's say bipolar or severe depression. Well, I cannot see it only as a psychological thing. The psychological part for me is only a symptom of something else. And I can prove the point. I mean, I accumulated enough evidence about that subject to really go public with it, tell you the truth, if people will accept it. So I'm sure I'm going to encounter a lot of opposition that way, but the evidence speaks for itself. So that's what I meant. So there is some, from my perspective, anyone that comes in suffering from any psychological thing, definitely there's some anatomical change in their body that is contributing to dropping, let's say, the serotonin level. And I found out throughout the years that it's reversible.
That makes sense. You were talking about it going both ways, that the mind to the body and the body to the mind.
Body to the mind. Yeah, I cannot disconnect it. I cannot separate God from science. I cannot separate God from his creation. Because a lot of people do separate him from his creation. I cannot separate your mind from your body. You see, we are a reflection of that, every one of us. So, and the same thing applies through the physical being. You can connect to the spiritual. Well, I do practice that in my medicine. Okay, so even if your mind is completely negative, I can address your body in order for me to reach your mind, and I have been extremely successful in doing that because I wait for the people to ask the right question so I can answer the right way that could shed light for them upon things that they were covered from them, they were not aware of. So I address your body to reach your mind, or I can address your mind from mind to mind to reach your body. So there is no disconnection whatsoever between mind and body. That's who we are. That's how the whole creation is.
All right, I want to shift gears here real quick. In Tickled, I write about a sort of a realization that hit me in early quarantine, where, I was saying various things to Joey, but one of the big ones was I turned to her one day and said, "Oh my God, everything I thought I knew was wrong." And I had also, I suddenly realized time was not real. And I suddenly was like, oh my God, it's all right now. Everything is right now. And at that moment in the process, all of my fear, not fear of specific things, just sort of, generalized anxiety kind of stuff, it kind of evaporated in an instant. And that led to the writing of the book, but it's also led to basically 3 of the easiest years of my life because nothing scares me anymore. And you said during the last meeting, I worry about nothing. I live in peace. I accept anything that can come my way. The peace is a major sign of the presence of the Spirit of God. And I can tell you from my personal experience, I could say those words verbatim myself and mean every single thing. So something happened where I was like, and I snapped out of it and I realized something. I have a question for Kathy. So is he as imperturbable as he seems?
He doesn't worry about a thing. I can tell him the roof is falling off the house, and he's, "It's okay, it'll be fine." I'm like, okay. He doesn't worry. He said, worry is counterproductive. Don't worry about anything. God's in charge. You have the faith. And I'll say, this is happening. He'll say, don't worry about it. It's honestly, he doesn't worry.
So I like that sense of relief. Your words rang so true to me, Dr. Nemeh. I was like, oh, that's exactly what happened to me. I don't worry about anything anymore. I'm not even worried about dying, right? Because I know we're eternal. How do we, is there a way to, do you communicate that to people, or is that simply something that one has to experience?
I do facilitate. I'm a facilitator. And I've been very successful at doing that. But just by revealing the truth, I mean, truth that materializes for them. And so I make it much easier, maybe for them, to reach that conclusion. And by the way, I felt you at the time. I knew what you were doing, what you were feeling. I looked at you and I knew right there. By the way, we are entangled.
Pointed at you. He pointed at
I pointed at
he was.
I knew I was feeling your spirit. It was beautiful. Okay, I have a very good feeling. I did. God bless you. Anyway, yes, we are capable of leading people towards the right state of mind. We do. And that's part of the love that we have, by the way. That's how it materializes. Because here, I'm in here for the well-being of everyone and the whole. That's how you fit yourself within that universal mind that is aiming at bringing everything back towards its perfection. You see it? And the perfection is when your mind perfectly manifests itself within your physical being. That's perfection. That's a perfect being. Now, if every cell in your body abides by the same principle, surrendering itself to your will, then you become a perfect being. The same thing applies to that universal concept too. We are all cells within that body. So we place ourselves, within that same frame of mind, automatically, then you transcend. Your consciousness gets so elevated, so it becomes so, the understanding becomes so encompassing and you become very effective, actually, in affecting everything around you. And that's why the healings happen, because I place myself in the same frame of mind, which is perfect love and self-sacrifice.
It's so easy when I hear you talk to just feel that and to stay open to it and to sort of tap into that love. But how do we do it when we're not talking to you?
Yes, I mean, at least you induce, you clarify things for people. And there's a struggle, because here the physical part of us in this world will oppose you. So it's a struggle, because here we have, I mean, a baby is born, it's aware of nothing, it has control of nothing, basically, except the basic activities for survival, and the mind starts struggling. It wants to gain control over that physical. It's a completely different experience for it. So then progressively it gains control over that physical body, and from controlling the body, it expands into relationships with the world around you and all that. And all of a sudden you become completely blind to where you came from. By the age of 4 or 5, people have a complete amnesia. They have maybe some glimpses, but look at the concept. If I focus my will on the physical world, serving the self, then I'm going to be completely blind to where I came from. You see, the blind to the highest type of principles of existence. So here, when you start reverting back to your essence, the physical part of you will oppose you. But what is important is your intention. That's the most important part. Even if your physical being is opposing you, your intention, especially when it's steady, will drive you into that place where you'll be free at last. Okay.
And when you say intention, you mean like setting an intention mentally, or do you mean that just the intention of your being?
My intention is about loving everybody. My intention is about bringing everybody to the highest and most healthy place. And it's a steady intention. It's an intention that overcomes my daily needs. And I tell you the truth, I sacrificed my life totally. I never lived like anybody else. I live in this city for 40 some years. I don't know even the streets next door. I don't. To that degree, that's the kind of state of mind that could drive you towards that higher awareness, an awareness that is all encompassing. We are beautiful beings that way, you see? And I see that truth, and my whole life is to convey that truth to everybody around me.
But the yogis would tell you that you don't need to go anywhere else, because it's all a misunderstanding out there in the streets down the road, and the universe is inside you. You've got it all right where you're sitting.
It's full of truth. It's full of truth. But there's another thing that it's a little hard for people to understand. If you think seriously about that love that we are talking about here, then anything that could feed my ego in any way, in my mind, it's totally rejected. I know it's defective. So if people ask me, when did you discover you have a gift? The first thing that happens, I feel like a stab in me, because my mind is so disciplined that way. I oppose everything that could feed my ego. The true love is about, again, self-sacrifice, complete surrender and self-sacrifice. I'm not saying that there are no fallings. but my intention is always like that. And it drives me deeper and deeper into the full truth. So your intention is the most important. You see? That's why Paul, talking about it, the apostle, he said, things I want to do, I don't, and things I don't want to do, I do, but the Lord honors my intention. And the intention is in your will. So if your will is to benefit everyone around you, that's what materializes everything for you and for others that are surrounded by you.
So that takes me back to where I said in the intro, the world is as you see it, right? So it is within our capacity to change the world by changing the way we think and changing our attitude towards it.
100%. There's no question about that part. No question whatsoever.
And Dr. Nemeh, where does your will, can you talk a little bit about will? Like where does that come from?
The will. Okay. Now, if you look at your own being, a lot of people talk about consciousness and consciousness. Consciousness is just awareness. That's what consciousness is. And the mind is consciousness, but it's the one that is restricted to the physical brain. It's the set of everything you've learned in a physical way. Your consciousness is way higher than your mind.
Mm-hmm.
But because of our intention, our will, decided to lock itself within the physical part. So we suffered a duality type of consciousness. It became mind and consciousness. But in our origin, there was no dissociation whatsoever between the physical brain and your consciousness. It was all one. But your will is the one that makes the decisions, is the one that actualizes everything. And that's who God the Father is, by the way. He is the will. You see? The Son is the consciousness that has within it everything that is. And your consciousness has your whole being in it. But who is making decisions? It's your will. The will is above consciousness. The will is above creation. It's above creation. I hope I clarified that point.
Yes, I was wondering if the will, I didn't know if it was something that we had any sort of control or hand in, or if that was just something that came from God. And so it is God.
Well, it is God, and we are supposed to be the perfect reflection of Him. Like it says at the end, when He surrenders everything back and everything reverts back to its origin, all will be in all. You see?
Yeah, and what I take from that is when you say it's above it, it's prior to the world.
Prior to the consciousness even.
Right, so prior to consciousness even. But it is us, so our objective is to find our way back to reside there and not out here in the stubborn body that gives us aches and pains.
Yeah, well, being in this stubborn body, it's serving a huge purpose. On the other hand, it's so beautiful that we are the immune system of God, actually. We are the remedy. Humanity is the remedy. And a lot of people think, oh, yeah, we came from the apes or whatever, to downplay yourself in your eyes, basically, and trying to shift your mind towards something that could disrespect your own being. Okay? We are extremely important in here. We are the center of it all. Humanity in general is the center of everything, is the one that is going to revert everything back to its origin, where the principle of entropy does not apply anymore.
I'm speechless. So
try living with it.
Shifting gears once again, what are we looking at behind you? It's a beautiful painting.
That's a lady, a painter. She paints angels and all of that. She got a powerful healing, so she painted that. She said she was inspired to paint my angel. I don't know. So
There, can you see it better?
Yeah,
Mhm.
three-dimensional sort of. It's a raised type of art.
She actually died and came back, and through that transition, her guardian angel asked her to do these kinds of paintings.
Wow.
So
that's amazing.
Her whole life was commissioned to do these paintings. So that's her job.
It's very interesting you say that, Kathy, because I was a business writer my whole career and sort of flipped the switch with Tickled. And to me, everything's clear now. I want to spread a different, before I would go after business people for being corrupt and sort of wag my finger at them and say, I'm the judge here. And now I suddenly realize all I want to do is spread the message of feeling that tickle. It's amazing how it can change in an instant, and you suddenly see what it is that you should be doing. Happened to me at 50, which, halfway there, not too late.
It's rewarding, isn't it?
It's never too late.
No.
Never too late.
Well, now that I've realized that time isn't real, I know that to be very true, right? It's we live in this eternal moment. It's always now. It's never late. Before, okay, this is amazing. This is amazing, inspiring. I feel like laughing. Could you do me one final favor before we go?
I will do any favor you ask me.
My wife, the one we're looking at here, has hip pain that will not go away.
It's my hip flexor. I don't know what I do yoga and we walk, but it's bothering me a lot.
Yes. Some basic principle, especially when muscles or tendons are involved or ligaments, you never stretch them. You give them a break. For one thing, because the more you stretch, because there is a baseline injury, like a couple of fibers, let's say, ruptured or whatever. So the more you stretch, you renew the injury.
Aha.
So look at our body, look at the automatic reflex. You injure your shoulder. You can't even lift even a cup because like your body is telling you, don't move it, leave it alone. Let it get the healing, you see?
I actually did injure my shoulder too.
Okay.
Does that include walking, right?
No, walking is okay. The stretching.
Right.
Abduction and stuff like this. I will never abduct an area or any joint that is involved. Front to back is okay, but not abduction.
Okay.
Okay? It's so important. Now, there are a lot of things that could help you when it comes to that part because obviously you are going to be active no matter what. You do the yoga and all of that. Like I said, like I mentioned, infrared LED. You can get them from Amazon. Yes, infrared LED lights. And they have rotational massagers. Those rotational massagers will stretch the fibers in tendons and muscles. And it will contribute to a fast healing if you do that. And of course, we can pray for it too,
That would be great.
Yes, I don't see any difference in there, by the way.
What's that?
I don't see any difference between physical part and the prayer part. I can't see it.
You want to pray for her? Do you want a prayer now, Joey?
Sure.
Do you have any pain at this moment?
Just a tiny bit, not much. It's just, I can tell there's a little bit there. It's in my low back and it sort of radiates to my hip flexor.
To your hip flexor, okay. All right, so we are going to start to pray and we'll go from there. Yeah, come Holy Spirit today, I pray in the name of Jesus. Come and dwell in her and rule in her. Make her a fit tool in the plan of your salvation. For the glory of Christ our Lord. and with the unity fill her heart, Lord Jesus. Today I pray with your love and your peace, the peace you promised us, through your presence in her and her mind with your light, our Father of all lights, and guide her always towards you, Lord. Complete her being, Holy One. Yeah. So in your name, Lord Jesus, Son of the living God, do I pray, I command you to be fully healed. Actually, I'm feeling you right now. I'm feeling the energy. Let me know. Are you feeling any sensation in the area?
Yeah, I feel like warmth.
Actually,
I feel warmth through my whole body, and especially in that area.
okay, I'm feeling you too. You see, that's what we were talking about. We are all connected. You
Yeah.
know, our intention for each other heals us. You know, and the promise was from of old, I'm going to heal you and heal everyone. I'm going to bless you, bless everyone around you. So that's the connection that we have. I'm feeling even the frequencies we talked about, the language. It goes through my body. I'm feeling quite a bit.
The what? I'm sorry, my sound went down a bit.
It's like I called it language of consciousness. I'm feeling all the frequencies myself and within my body going into your body. You see?
Yeah, it's like a full, like a being hug.
Exactly.
like I feel like my entire being is is embraced.
Yes. Well, God bless you. You are connected. Yeah, you are.
And I mean, we might as well. My lower back still hurts, Dr. Nemeh.
Oh, okay.
I think you need to both come out here for a visit.
If you could, we would love to.
How is your pain now?
Mine?
No, hers.
Hers.
There's no pain. It's fine. Everything feels good.
Beautiful. And now it's your turn.
Okay, Doc.
All right.
Yeah, okay. Lord Jesus, Son of the living God. And I command you to be fully healed. And you are praying for him too, right?
Mm-hmm.
We thank thee, Father, for glorifying your Son, by the power of your Holy Spirit, that is at work within us. So may thy will, Lord, be done in him and through his complete healing. May thou be glorified. Sensing anything?
I'm sensing like lower leg tingling, like Joey says, little.
Okay, and I'm feeling it too. Yes.
No, it's definitely different. Wow.
Yes. And are you feeling like frequencies too going in? Like a buzz?
Yeah. In my legs, it feels almost like my legs are asleep.
Oh, yes, it gives you that feeling.
Right.
You know, it could translate itself too into some muscle movements and stuff like that. You know, it could start moving. It could feel a little weird, heavy, let's say, and oftentimes it starts moving on its own. Okay.
What do they call that in yoga, Joey? Kriyas?
A kriya? Yeah, a kriya is like a spontaneous sort of burst of a physical manifestation of the spirit.
From the energy coming in.
Nice.
Well, thank you. So let's so you have monthly Zoom prayer meetings. How does a listener who wants to check that out? Where is that? How do they get on that call, Kathy?
On our website, path2faith.com.
Okay, so those are you can find out, listeners. You can find out about them there. And your practice, Dr. Nemeh, is in Cleveland.
Yes.
And they can get a hold of you through the site too, or is your office number on there, Kathy, for people to call?
Yeah.
Everything's there.
You know, I wanted to add a couple of things. You see, the nature of work that I've been doing drove me into developing technology. Okay, like the diagnostic tool, and companies. My son and daughter are in charge of it. It's called Ninorta, and I developed a mouthpiece.
Can you spell that? Sorry.
Ninurta.
Okay.
Yes, and a mouthpiece actually for gum disease, and we developed a mouthpiece for dogs. Actually, my kids are working on that, and I developed a diagnostic tool for animals to diagnose animals. Stuff like that.
So that's up and coming.
But it's all the result of the type of work. You see, everything is inspired. On the other hand,
Okay, so is that a technology that is going through an FDA process, or what's happening?
We are going through FDA. We are going to go through all, those clinical studies and all of that will be going through the FDA.
We'll keep you posted on that.
You won't have to keep us posted. You're going to have a hard time getting rid of us at this point.
Well, it's our pleasure.
God bless you.
I hope you come.
Maybe it was meant to be. I see God's will in it too.
Yeah. So thank you so much. This is, I was not wrong. This is my favorite conversation on this podcast yet. You two are so inspiring, and the conviction about the power of love is just overwhelming in its I feel like crying and laughing simultaneously right now.
I do that all the time.
Thank you, Dr. Nemeh and Kathy. Thank you for so joining us. It's been a thrill.
God bless
It's our pleasure. Thank you.
All right, then. So that conversation with the Nemehs was so mind-blowing. Joey and I had to take 2 days off to recover from it, and we're here to do a recap and close out this episode. As far as I'm concerned, and apologies to any of our previous guests who might be hurt by it, but you shouldn't be, because I love you all. That was the most exciting conversation that we've had so far on how to tickle yourself. But so inspiring. So much love from both of them, but also their kind of conviction that makes it possible to believe. The man believes, and you can feel it. And it seems to me, it's like, as I said at the beginning, the world is what you make it, right? It is what you believe it is. If you believe it is a good place, it's a good place. If you believe everything's going to shit, all you're going to see is everything going to shit. Dr. Nemeh and his wife Kathy see the world as love, and you can feel it, and they believe it, and I believe them.
It seems like they've learned to use the levers behind the scenes, right? So they figured out sort of how reality works in conjunction with spirit, like body, spirit, mind, all of it together. And it seems like they've got the they're in the control room.
Right, which to listeners, and like for he's a Christian, but in yoga, the whole goal of yoga is to find your way to the control room, right? If all of this really is an appearance in consciousness, which both Joey and I believe, and all the yogis believe, then we are the knower of consciousness. So instead of getting confused and distracted by that which is within it, what you want to be is the knower of it, at which point it should reveal its secrets to you and allow you to manifest that your will. And it seems to me that's what Dr. Nemeh is doing.
Yep, for sure.
All right. So I've got one for you here. And it feels weird because normally with Matt, I've discovered this on my own. And I'm telling him something that he may or may not have heard before. This one you discovered with me, but I don't care. Joey and I were watching the show Versailles on Netflix the other day after watching The Empress. We're in a huge European royal family period piece binge. And anyway, watching Versailles, I learned a word that I should have known a long time ago, as it's kind of what I do. It's called badinage, and it means light raillery or playful banter. This is from the 1650s. This word is 400 years old, and I hadn't heard of it. Got to start paying more attention.
Better late than never, right?
It's always now, too.
And
and one who indulges in badinage is known as a badineur. So I'm going to put on my resume and all my social media profiles. I'm going to, starting today, if you go look now, you should see badineur in a couple of those places. Badineur. Duff the badineur. All right. So closing out on a slightly more serious note, and this is, Joey, this is what you were just talking about with respect to Dr. Nemeh, right? We are not our thoughts. We are the watchers of our thoughts, right? And as he pointed out, and we spoke about during that show, we're only afraid of things that we don't know. But if you can access the knower, there is nothing that you don't know. You know the self. So this is a really interesting quote from Nisargadatta Maharaj that I read, 20 minutes ago. And he says, when you are the knower of thought flow, you cannot flow with the mind. Only after the conviction of self, your fear end. The greatest thing in the whole world is the human heart. Without knowing it, the man identifies with the body and suffers. By meditating on consciousness in the heart, many have become sages. Hence, meditation helps one to know one's worthiness. I'm going to go out on a very short limb here. Is it a short limb? I don't know. And call Dr. Nemeh a sage. He wouldn't do it, but I will. Thanks for listening, people. We'll be back with you in a week.
Bye-bye.
At the present moment, traveling town to town, the mystery of the motion, right here, right now. Right here, right now. Whoa, right here, right now.
You've been listening to How to Tickle Yourself with your hosts Duff McDonald and Matt McButter. You can help us by liking, subscribing, and sharing this podcast with others. You can talk to us and see what else is happening on Instagram and Facebook at How to Tickle Yourself. This program was recorded in Studio B of the historic Rockledge Recording Studio and the Tunnel under Arundel. Right here, right now, our original 16-part theme music was written and recorded by the legendary Paul Reddick and Kyle Ferguson of the Sidemen, with the brilliant Steve Mariner on bass and drums and in the mixing room. The podcast is produced and distributed by Storic Media. Our editor is Andrew Steiner. Our coordinator is Samantha Abramovitz. Our producers are Kristen Verbitsky and Chuck LaBella. For more information, visit storicmedia.com. That's STORIC media.com.
My love, my dear.